Alright, hello citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel here once again, and this is going to be another video game room. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to step back into the courtroom once again, so get your spiky hair gel and flash your badges to people. Oh, it's time for Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, Justice for All, the sequel to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, which I reviewed some months ago, so if you haven't already, go check out that review. But as always, I'm not a professional video game reviewer or video game analyst or anything like that. Just a man who enjoys a good time, and I definitely, for the most part, had a pretty good time with this one. Now, the thing about sequels is that they can be a little tricky sometimes. Like, the stigma with a lot of sequels is that they aren't always as good as the originals. And in very rare cases is it for a sequel to be as good as the original, or in even rarer case, for it to be better than the original. So where does Phoenix Wright, hey, Ace Attorney Justice for All, fall on the scale? Well, I still haven't really decided yet. I actually just finished it like a matter of moments ago before I hooked up my equipment here to record. But yeah, so definitely interesting this time around. So, like I said, um, we step into the courtroom once again with Phoenix Wright, and yeah. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. So, for those who've seen reviews like these before from me, you kind of already know how this works. For those of you who haven't, I'm going to be talking about what I liked and what I disliked about the game. So, what I liked is that, for starters, pretty much everything from the previous game, for the most part, aside from one or two things, is pretty much carried over into this game. Like, so the art style, most of the soundtracks, the characters and their respective charm, and the humor and stuff, carried over from the first game to the next game, and that is usually a good sign. If it's something, well, the reason I say usually is because sometimes there's stuff that you didn't want from the first game, and to come over to the sequel here. But if there's something that works, then carrying it over to the next game is beneficial. Well, but otherwise, things are pretty much the same. Going around, investigating, do some investigating of your own, in order to find all the necessary clues and everything needed to prove that your client is innocent for the most part, and we'll get to why. Yeah. So you go around, you do your own investigating, finding pretty much every single thing you can in order to prove the innocence of your clients, and aside from an exception, which we'll get to, like I said. But that's essentially the name of the game, and then you go to court and presenting all the evidence and pretty much making the counterclaims against the prosecution in order to prove your client's innocence. And so, this time around, you don't always battle Miles Edgeworth, or then Miles Edgeworth is actually gone for a period of the game, which we'll definitely get to. But otherwise, you battle the same lawyer you did in your like kind of tutorial case that you did in the first game, but you also this time battle a new prosecutor, and that being Franziska von Karma, the daughter of Manfred von Karma. If you remember from Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, Manfred von Karma, the man who trained Miles Edgeworth, or taught him everything that Edgeworth knows, and was the prosecutor that you battle against, and in order to prove Miles Edgeworth's innocence in the second to last case, technically the last case, but then second to last in the version that I played, which was the Ace Attorney collection, the Ace Attorney trilogy, I should say, on my PS4. But nevertheless, his daughter's there, and she got a whip, and she's definitely not afraid to use it, leading to some hilarious moments. And people rightfully pointed out she'd definitely be held in contempt of court for going around whipping everybody, especially during the trial. But it's fiction, so what are you gonna do? But otherwise, being able to battle her, and we see the narrative and how it progresses. A major new character is introduced, who's that being Pearl Faye, who is like the cousin of Maya and Mia Faye, but her nickname is Pearls, and she has a new mechanic that's introduced in the game that she gives you, and that's the Magmata, which allows you to unlock Psych-Locks, which once you unlock these Psych-Locks, for a character, you can have further dialogue with them to get more information about the case and the secrets that the characters are hiding. And the way it's done is kind of similar to how they do in like the courtroom segments in the game, which is nice for consistency's sake. But it is not nice that they have that there, and it's not like something that's it's not something that really drags the game down or is like really annoying to use. You use it a few times throughout. It's introduced in the second case when you meet Pearls. It's introduced in the second case, and then use it for not only that case, but then the third and fourth cases as well. And like I said, the narrative, it was really strong. Not just as typical stuff that Phoenix goes through, proving his client's innocence, but what happens when his client actually is the guilty one, and we find out about that. Oops, sorry about my light; it's gonna probably flicker in and out sometime, but we actually find out about that in the last one because our client is actually guilty. But for starters, we don't find that out until pretty late into the case. But also the way it's done as the twist is really cool. The fact that he's in cahoots with the person who kidnapped Maya, which Maya got kidnapped, and now you essentially have to work with Miles Edgeworth, who takes over as prosecutor after Von Karma is shot in the arm, so being consistent with her dad. But you have to essentially work with Miles Edgeworth to get this guy the guilty verdict. And Phoenix essentially has the choice to make because the conditions of both his client, and which is Matt on guard, or the conditions of him and the assassin he hired to kill the victim, is that if Matt on guard is found guilty, then Maya will be killed essentially, because the person Matt hired was an assassin and a hitman, if you will. And so you have the choice to make, and when the twist happens that Matt really is found guilty, then the stakes are really raised, and things really pick up from there, especially in the fierce court battle afterwards. But then the loop around is found where it turns out Matt was going to blackmail the assassin, and so he pretty much used that in order to save Maya and get the guilty verdict for Matt on guard, as now the assassin is coming after him. At least that's the good ending, because apparently there are two endings for the game. The bad ending is Matt gets the not guilty one. But I did find out how to get the good ending, so I got the good ending. But otherwise, it's interesting that they put that twist in there, and I think it really helps with dimensions. Not just of Phoenix Wright's character, not just of Miles Edgeworth's character, but being a lawyer, essentially being guilty versus innocent, and essentially Phoenix was kind of looking at it in an obtuse way. If that makes any sense, where there is kind of one worldview where the prosecutors are evil and then the defense is good, but that essentially gets flipped on its head, where they're both trying to essentially fulfill their roles, where the prosecutor is trying to prove that the person is guilty, the defense is trying to prove that the person is not guilty, and both are essentially trying to seek justice. And that is the important lesson that Phoenix Wright learns, and he learns that by having to team up with Miles Edgeworth, which is a really cool way of going about how things, and I think that plot point was really well done, and we see the kind of relationship explored between in Francisca von Karma and Miles Edgeworth, which makes sense because on Karma, Francisco von Karma was Manfred von Karma's daughter, and Miles Edgeworth was his protege. So there's a bit of a relationship there, and how it's explored and everything, I think, is very well done. And so really good stuff all throughout when it comes to this game. In terms of what I didn't really like as much, for starters, it's not like the first Ace Attorney game. There is no bonus episode this time around. This one is just 4 cases, and that's it. Which I guess is consistent because technically the first one is 4 cases, and then it had the bonus episode, which they included in the Ace Attorney trilogy. But here's just the 4 episodes. Them having a 5th episode, although I don't think that's necessarily the fault of the trilogy per se. It's because they can't put a 4th episode. They can't put a 5th episode in. I'm sorry, because there is no 5th episode. So hashtag there is no secret ingredient. Yeah, there really is no secret ingredient. There's no 5th episode. But it only being 4 episodes as opposed to the other 5 does kind of suck. The other thing is that some of the music choices being changed up, I didn't like as much. Like when you doing like the cross examine and stuff, they kind of changed up that music, which I didn't like as much as I did in Ace Attorney. That one, like this one, in my opinion, seems a bit softer and a bit more upbeat, which I imagine some people are probably a fan of, and it's subjective. It's probably not my cup of tea, but otherwise, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of it. And some of the characters are a bit troublesome, and even Phoenix's personality, the fact that he essentially is his reaction to Miles Edgeworth potentially unaliving himself is ooh, wow, this is kind of harsh from Phoenix, saying like pretty much boiling down to good riddance, which that is messed up from Phoenix. And then from the 3rd case, the Turnabout Big Top, where you're in the circus and everything, a lot of people don't really like that case, and maybe it has something to do with the fact that there's a little bit of pedo undertones. I'm not gonna delve too much into it. I think I've already spoiled enough from the game, but yeah, yikes. But otherwise, it's still a really solid game, a really solid entry. So we still have one more in the trilogy that I have, which is Trials and Tribulations, and let's see if I can explore even more of the series from there. I know they had the crossover with Professor Layton. I know they had the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, which is kind of like a prequel. So I definitely want to check those out, perhaps. But let me know in the comments if you guys would be interested in me checking those out. But nevertheless, that's going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor. Like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video so you can see as soon as it drops. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the game and my review. Did you like to dislike the game? Did you like to dislike my review of the game? And what are your thoughts in the comments below? And do you like the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney games? But nevertheless, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Peace.